So in this video, I'm going to give you a recap of a fascinating talk that we had last night in Colchester from the Peacekeepers. Lance and Brian came along and told us all about the law, how the system works, and our constitution. And these are absolutely vital to understand, because if we don't know how the system works, how on earth are we going to make sure that it acts as it should and acts fairly? Now, you often hear a lot of talk about people saying, oh, we need to start again, we need to have a new system. Well, what's the point of that if we don't even understand our existing system? And as it happens, our existing system happens to be really, really good. It's just most of us don't know it, and most of us are allowing ourselves to be taken advantage of by people who either willfully do things incorrectly or they just don't know themselves. So, here's a recap of what we were told last night. Now, please note, any mistakes I make are mine and mine alone and not the Peacekeepers. I'm very new to learning all of this, but I hope to be able to convey the main important points. So to fully understand the system, we need to go back to the 1600s, and we had some dodgy kings in the past. They eventually got rid of James II and replaced him with William of Orange from Holland. So having got rid of a bad king, they wanted to make sure that we didn't get any more in the future. So they came up with the Bill of Rights, and that got rid of the divine right of kings, which basically means they can do whatever the hell they like. So this transferred the power from the monarchy to Parliament. But what's important is Parliament cannot do anything to the prejudice of the people. That's critical in the Bill of Rights. Now, you can go to legislation.gov and you can download a copy of the Bill of Rights. It's actually not that long a document. There's only about 8 pages or so. And this constitution is really quite amazing. So let me talk you through some of the key points. Do read it, but if you want an abbreviated summary, I have shoved it through AI and got AI to do it for me, and I'll put a link to this in the Dropbox. So the Bill of Rights stops the Crown taxing people as they see fit, or going to war, or doing all that kind of bad stuff. It makes sure we have freedom of speech and members of Parliament can express their points of view without fear of being prosecuted. It stops cruel and unusual punishments. And it makes sure individuals cannot be arrested or detained without lawful justification, protecting us from arbitrary imprisonment. And the key part of this is nothing can be done to the prejudice of the people. It enforces the rule of law, so everybody is accountable and equal, including government officials. So it prevents the government from acting above the law or using its authority to oppress or discriminate against its citizens. It protects our individual rights and freedoms, and all decisions and policies should protect the welfare of the people. It highlights the importance of accountability and transparency in government, as well as democratic governance. The summary that AI gave is nothing can be done to the prejudice of people encapsulates the idea that government actions must be just, reasonable, and in the best interest of the citizens. It is a foundational principle that promotes the protection of individual rights, the rule of law, and the maintenance of a fair and accountable government. Doesn't that sound lovely? It's a shame our government don't seem to have read the Bill of Rights. So Parliament's job is to meet and resolve grievances. So if you're upset about something, you tell your MP takes it to Parliament, and then they sort it out. They are not meant to be making laws. They can only amend, strengthen, or preserve our existing laws. Laws can only be made in the court, not in Parliament. And to clarify what law is, it is the birthright of the people. We have inherent rights that we have just by virtue of being born, and the law is there to uphold those rights. That's it. It's not meant to persecute and prosecute us. It is there to uphold our rights and freedoms. So the courts are only actually there for public dispute resolution. So if you and I have an argument and we cannot come to a resolution, we take it to court and they come up with a remedy. And if this type of thing has already been done, a precedence has been set, then it's very clear cut. If we have the kind of dispute that has nuances that haven't been covered, then the courts will come up with a law that sorts that out. So once the courts have created that law, it then gets passed to Parliament, and Parliament make the legislation to enact that law. And it may have to go backwards and forwards a few times to get it right, but that is how our system works. It is very fair, equal and just. So as long as we do not cause any harm, loss or injury to another, we should be free to go about our business unimpeded. Now, does that sound like the society we're living in? No, it doesn't, does it? So what has gone wrong? Well, basically, because of a lack of education and the fact most people don't even know we have a constitution in this country, we didn't know how to protect our rights because we didn't know what they were. So it's very important that we all educate ourselves on precisely what our rights are and we hold others accountable. That's where it's gone wrong. It's user error. It's not the system. Now, whether that has been done through ignorance or whether it's willfully they've been manipulating us into believing we're powerless, when in actual fact the opposite is true. The pecking order in law is a higher power, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, the people, the government, which includes monarchy, and the agents of government, so councils and police, etc. So we're answerable only to God unless we've caused harm, loss or injury to another. So we are the power. The power is with the people, not just because there's a lot of us, it's because individually we are all very powerful. And that is what people don't realise. And that is what causes the anger and frustration and sense of powerlessness, because people don't know just how powerful they are. And that's by design. We're not taught all this at school, are we? And we should be. So it's down to us to educate ourselves and then hold those in these positions accountable. I get a lot of comments under the videos saying, oh, it's good that you're doing it, but it's a complete waste of time. No, it's not. It is vital that we hold people to account. Because what's the alternative? People turning up with pitchforks at Parliament and blocking their entrance. What good does that do, really? We have a system that works, but we have people in the system that aren't aware of the rules. So it's our job to start off at local level and educate our councillors, educate our MPs, and work our way up to where the problem is in central government. So that's it in a nutshell. The system is really, really good. We have just let it get out of control with people who either purposefully are manipulating it or they haven't a clue themselves. So our job now is to educate people. We all need to know our rights. And I'm not talking in a table thumping, I know my rights kind of way and, you know, in an arrogant way. When you really know it, it humbles you because you really understand we are all equal, not just in the eyes of the Lord and the law. You really know it, that we are equal and that we must not push our will onto others as they must not push their will onto us. So that's really important because, well, it's power versus force, isn't it? Weak people always try and force others to do things. They try and control, manipulate and force. Strong people stand in their power and they use power, and power will beat force every time. We've just got to take that stand and calmly explain the rules to everybody else until they get it, because at Supreme Court level, they know all this stuff. They absolutely do. Your average magistrate probably doesn't, and that's where we keep hitting the wall because the magistrates think they know the law and they don't. But when you get to the highest levels, they absolutely do. So if everybody does this, understands this, we have the law on our side. We've just got to use it effectively. So I hope this summary has been useful, but I do want to reiterate, I'm only just learning this myself, and learning to walk from someone that's still on their hands and knees crawling across the floor is not a good idea. So I really do recommend that you, one, download the Bill of Rights, read it. If you need a cheat summary, I've put one in the Dropbox for you from AI. It's important to read this because everything is in it. And when you really understand it all, you don't need to feel powerless because you're not at all. And if you get nothing else from this video, get that. And if you want to know more, go to peacekeepers.org.uk and they have loads of free training. You can go on a 3 or 4 hour course on all of these details. Now, the main thing is you understand the concept. I haven't touched equity because I don't understand it enough myself yet. So if there's enough interest, as the more I learn, I can do more of these videos just to give you a summary. But I do fully recommend that you learn it properly for yourself. Not understanding this is how we've got in this pickle in the first place. So leaving things to others is also how we're in this mess. So it is important that we all stand in our power and understand how our system works so that we can make sure it works properly. So until the next video, take care.